It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Kruse.
It's summertime and the fishing's fine, unless, of course, you stay out too long on the water, which is what I did last week when I went fishing with my girlfriend and my best buddy on our bass boat. The fishing wasn't bad, but man, oh man, we stayed out a little bit too late. We were out at 11:30 in the morning. It was pushing 94 degrees. There was no wind on the lake at all, and it was definitely time to pack it in. As a matter of fact, things are so hot out here that I had a rafting trip canceled that I had scheduled for floating the Walleye River in northeast Oregon. Was really looking forward to that, but they called and said, look, it's really hot. It's really smoky because of nearby wildfires, and the water's really low. So we're canceling your trip. Better luck next time. I get it. I really do. And speaking of wildfires, they are burning not just in California, not just in Washington State, and not just in Oregon, but all over the West. And this is a major issue. Some of these fires are lightning caused. At least one, if not more, have been caused by arsonists. But another major cause for wildfires, believe it or not, is unattended and abandoned campfires. And this is something that's so avoidable. I mean, if you're camping and you're allowed to have a campfire, a lot of places you can't right now in the western U.S., do everybody a favor. Make sure that that fire is out. When I mean out, I mean not just smoking, I mean drowned out. Pour lots of water on it, stir it, pour more water on it, make sure it's actually cool to the touch, and then leave, because you don't want to be the one responsible for starting a major wildfire. This week on the show, we're going to talk about fishing during the dog days of summer, especially when we talk to Johnnie Candle, that very well-known national walleye tournament champion, and fishing guide who calls Devil's Lake, North Dakota home. Johnny's going to give you a current Devil's Lake fishing report. He's going to give all of us some advice on how to catch fish during these dog days of summer, something I've been struggling to do when it comes to walleye, and tell you about some walleye schools he's got coming up in Minnesota next month. I've been to one of his schools before, and you will learn a lot, so you're definitely going to want to hear about this. Another guest we'll talk to is Keith Sutton. He is the editor of Catfish Now, and we'll talk a little bit about what's in the current edition of Catfish Now, but we're going to spend most of our time talking to him about his new project. It's something he and his wife Teresa have come up with. It's called Down Home Arkansas, and if you go to downhomearkansas.net, you're going to see that it's all about wildlife and the outdoors and about good eats in Arkansas. Keith's going to share a few examples of all of this with us during the show today. Another guest you'll hear from today is Chris Avena. He's the editor and founder of American Outdoor News. Got to meet him a few years ago at SHOT Show as we were boarding the bus to head to the industry day at the range and enjoy some shooting out there. And Chris has not only a digital magazine that you can subscribe to free of charge, he's also got a podcast, and he is putting together the first annual American Outdoor News fishing event. It's going to take place on a charter boat in the saltwater off of Montauk, New York. And he's got a couple spaces left. I think you're going to want to hear about this. And if you're anywhere in New York, you might want to sign up for this trip. This portion of the show is brought to you every week by our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. And one thing I love about Henry Repeating Arms is their Guns for Great Causes program. They go ahead and find a child in need, usually suffering from a life-threatening illness, and they will make a very limited run of tribute edition rifles for the child that are then sold online, and all of the proceeds go to the care of that child. It's a wonderful program. Again, it's the Guns for Great Causes program by Henry Repeating Arms. You can find out more about it by going to henryusa.com. That's henryusa.com. And don't forget to check out the lineup of rifles and revolvers and shotguns that they have there. As a matter of fact, one of their new rifles, the Homesteader 9mm carbine, was just featured in Outdoor Life. You can go to outdoorlife.com and find out more about the Homesteader 9mm carbine, and then head back to henryusa.com, look for an authorized dealer near you, and maybe pick up a carbine for yourself, and definitely check out the Guns for Great Causes program. Let's go ahead and share some outdoors news with you. We're going to start off with news from the Mule Deer Foundation. They have got a new president and CEO, and it looks like they've picked a real good one. His name is Greg Sheehan. He has over 20 years of leadership experience in habitat and wildlife conservation, and he's most recently served as the Utah State Director of the U.S. Bureau of Land Management, where he managed millions of acres of public lands and worked with a diverse array of stakeholders to implement effective land management strategies. One of Sheehan's most remarkable accomplishments includes his efforts to increase Utah's mule deer population. And boy, did he. He increased that population by over 100,000 animals through innovative habitat restoration initiatives, predator management programs, and strategic translocations. We'll have to see what we can do about getting Greg Sheehan on the show. Sounds like he'd be an interesting person to talk to. Congratulations, Mr. Sheehan. From the Outdoor Wire, we learned that silver carp, an invasive species, continue to march into bass country. The Army Corps of Engineers has announced some public forums to deal with invasive carp marching into the Tennessee and Cumberland River basins and Tennessee-Tombigbee Waterway. The silver carp, which is a native Asian species, was first stocked in fish ponds in the Mississippi River in the 1970s to control weed and parasite growth, but they eventually escaped into the Mississippi River. The silver carp are known as ones that tend to jump out of the water when they are spooked, like by a passing boat. And in the words of the author, if you happen to get smacked with a 10-pound carp while your bass boat is running along at 50 miles an hour, you're probably going to the hospital at best. The fish have caused broken noses, jaws, and arms already. Silver carp are incredibly prolific, and high-density populations can filter out nearly all of the nutrient floating loose in the water. It's normally eaten by gizzard shad, which are the base of the food chain in this region. White bass, stripers, and catfish will eat baby silvers, but the silvers quickly get too big to serve as forage. The only good news about silver carp? Well, unlike other carp, they're actually pretty good eating. If you want to go to one of the forums that's taking place, there's going to be one at the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency office in Nashville on August 15th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And in Alabama, the meeting's taking place August 27th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. at the Lauderdale County Extension Office. There will also be a virtual meeting. Anybody can attend on August 29th, same time, and this is all Central Standard Time, by the way, 5 to 7:30 p.m. You can find out more by checking the August 7th edition of the Outdoor Wire and look for Frank Sargent's column on this issue. Last but not least, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show.
It's record fish time.
This record fish is a fun one, and it comes to us from Wayne County, West Virginia. From Outdoor Life and the Fishing Wire, we learned that a West Virginia angler caught a record channel catfish. It all happened on July 21st. That's when John Tyler Rutherford took his 3-year-old daughter fishing at his father's farm pond in Wayne County. They weren't doing anything fancy. As a matter of fact, they were fishing for bluegill. They had a little $10 pink rod and reel combo that they bought from a local sporting goods store, spooled with 6-pound line, and they were just fishing worms and night crawlers. The plan was that John would go ahead and cast out and that his daughter would reel in any bluegill they caught. Well, on the second cast, this big channel catfish took that worm and took the line. Rutherford realized that his 3-year-old daughter was not going to be able to handle this fish, so he kept the rod, and a long fight started, especially with 6-pound test. Rutherford's father went to grab a net, and eventually they got the big catfish close to shore. John Rutherford realized there was no way this big catfish was going to fit into the net, so he actually went to the water and just picked up that tired catfish and brought it in. The family called the West Virginia Department of Natural Resources, and a couple of biologists came out to measure and weigh the fish. They found that the channel catfish measured 43.51 inches and weighed 46.7 pounds, smashing the previous West Virginia channel cat record. Now that's a fish story that's going to be told by generations of Rutherford family members, that's for sure.
Congratulations on your new record.
Stick around. We've got Chris Avena, the editor of American Outdoor News, standing on deck, and he'll be in the batter's box right after this short word from our sponsors.
When you think of Work Sharp knife and tool sharpeners, you probably think of sharpeners for the shop or the field, but Work Sharp has a whole lineup of sharpeners for the kitchen, too. We're talking about everything from easy-to-use manual and electric knife sharpeners to ceramic honing rods, whetstones, and the new rolling knife sharpener, an innovative manual sharpener that will do wonders for your cutlery. Make sure there's never a dull moment in your kitchen. Check out the entire product line and order today at WorkSharpTools.com. That's WorkSharpTools.com.
Sportsman's Cove Lodge has upped the ante for their Sportsman's Surge Showdown coming up this September. 5 boatloads of fishermen will compete against each other to see who can catch the most fish in terms of weight during their 4-day trip. And the boat that does wins $25,000. Since there's only 5 boats per trip, your odds are pretty good. And if you land the biggest weight for all 3 trips, you win another $25,000. This is a great excuse to go fishing, whether you're with family, friends, or a corporate group. So, go fishing at Sportsman's Cove Lodge and participate in the Sportsman's Surge Showdown this September. Find out more at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
I'm Anthony Imperato, president of Henry Repeating Arms. Patriotic Americans are looking to protect and provide for their families, now more than ever. Henry has over 200 rifles and shotguns to choose from, made in America or not made at all, and backed by a lifetime guarantee. Go to henryusa.com and order our free catalog, decals, and a list of dealers in your area. That's henryusa.com. Thank you, and God bless America.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. We've got Christopher Avena on the line. He's a publisher of American Outdoor News, and their first annual fishing event is coming up August 17th in New York. And if you want to go fishing with the American Outdoor News crew, this is for you. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, John. I really appreciate you, buddy.
Well, you know, you and I, we met at Industry Day on the Range, getting on the bus to go out there at SHOT Show a few years ago, and I've always kind of followed you ever since then, and I've had you on a couple times, but I'm really interested in this fishing event. But before we get into that, I want our listeners to know more about American Outdoor News, because you've got a magazine that's absolutely free to subscribe to, don't you?
Yeah, it's we started in 2018. We're rolling into, I guess, our 6th year, something like that. And it's been a great adventure. American Outdoor News is where your adventure begins. We have amazing writers sharing content of outdoor adventures, bear hunting, hunting Africa, fishing trips, all kinds of adventures that they're sharing. And there's tips on how to prepare for trips, what to bring, what not to bring. It's a great learning experience, learning from other people's adventures. And yeah, if you look at who we've had in our publication, really anybody who's anybody in the outdoors has been on our covers. Jim Shockey, Jana Walla, Melissa Bachman. We have Christy Titus coming up in next issue that'll be out this week. Plus, you know, people like Bo Jackson, Joe Montaigne, Adam Vinatieri, Travis Tritt. We always have somebody that's not in our industry that just has a passion for the outdoors, and we love to share that with our readers. And it's been a fun adventure. I look forward to what's ahead of us.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is a who's list of, yes, I am envious. I mean, heck, I'm stuck with you. I can't get Christy Titus on the air.
Sure you can. You just got to
ask. In addition to the magazine, you've got a podcast, too, at American Outdoor News.
I do. The podcast it allows me to open up my talking points. I try to keep the magazine non-political, even though we have a Second Amendment section, which is always political.
Right.
Yeah, we've had some politicians on the podcast, law enforcement, some military. So we don't just talk about hunting. We talk about new products on the market. We talk about laws and legislature that might affect our outdoor lifestyle. military who have protected our nation, our freedoms, to say, hey, you know what? I want to go out and hunt today. So we're pretty broad in topic, and it's a weekly event. I actually took a couple weeks off. I had a little bit of an accident.
Uh-oh.
I was roughhousing with my dog and got her a little excited. She headbutted me by mistake and knocked out one of my front teeth.
Oh, my gosh. How big of a dog do you have?
She's a pet.
Well, that can do it, but geez, poor puppy and poor you. I'm sorry to hear this. Let's go ahead and talk about this fishing event you've got going. Now, this is not a derby, and it's going to be taking place on a chartered boat. Where's it going to happen?
It's going to be in the mecca of the East Coast fishing, Montauk Point in Montauk, New York. Actually, Montauk, if you have watched Jaws, Captain Quint was based on a real character, Captain Mungus, who fished sharks out of Montauk Point.
Ah.
It was a little bit of history that isn't widely known. But, so we're going to be... I wanted to go deep sea for tuna or something along those lines, but I wanted everybody to have a good time and pull in fish. So we're going to be going for stripers and fluke and bluefish, sea bass. So everybody's going to be pulling in fish. Everyone's going to have a good time. I have to thank our sponsors, Daiwa Reels, Smith's Knives, Costa Sunglasses, St. Croix Fishing Poles, a newcomer to the industry, the Glove Scaler, and everybody's going to have an opportunity to win prizes on the boat. We're going to have contests. Everybody's going to have a good time. Also, we have Vicus Water as one of our sponsors. So, there's going to be plenty of water to drink to stay hydrated. So everyone's going to have a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. It's our first fishing event, and it's going to be the first of many. So hopefully it'll pick up some steam and follow suit to our game dinners. We host game dinners as well, and those are always sold out. We have 200-plus people at every event, and, we're looking to spread the word of the outdoors and let everybody enjoy and have a good time and be around like-minded individuals who love our lifestyle and are looking to just have a day out with people that enjoy the same things.
Sounds like a great time indeed. Tell me a little bit about the boat you're going to be on and the captain.
Oh, we are going to be on the My Joyce fishing charter, and it's a beautiful boat. It's, it's about 40-something feet, 45 feet, and, we're looking forward to it. The captain is Ken, let me see if I can pronounce his name correctly, Hedgedik, something along those lines.
That's fair enough. You gave it a college try there.
I call him Captain Ken, but he's been fishing Montauk for over 40 years, knows the waters, knows where to catch fish, and knows how to treat his people right. So I'm looking to have a good time with him, and people are going to be able to walk on the boat, not even bring anything. We're going to have plenty of soft drinks, breakfast, lunch. So all they got to do is bring themselves and enjoy the day.
I've got to ask, I know a lot of our listeners are wondering too, is the boat full or are you still looking for some participants?
I had one cancellation, so we do have 2 spots open.
Okay, and how do folks sign up and what's the cost to attend?
They can email me at editor@AmericanOutdoorNews.com. The cost for it's a full day of fishing is $225 per person. It is affordable. And if you go on fishing charters, this isn't expensive at all.
Oh, no, especially given the goodie bags and things you're giving out. This is a great deal. $225 is nothing for a full day of fishing. So wonderful. Again, is it editor@AmericanOutdoorNews.com? Is that the email they should send?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, folks, if you're up in New York and you want to go fishing, the editor of, or the publisher, I should say, of American Outdoor News, Chris Avena, just email him. Again, it's editor@AmericanOutdoorNews.com. That's editor@AmericanOutdoorNews.com. This fishing trip's happening August 17th. That's next weekend, so you better hop on this quick and go fishing. Have fun and be part of the American Outdoor News family. And if you want to subscribe, easy to do. Just go to AmericanOutdoorNews.com. Subscribe today. It doesn't cost you a thing to do so. Chris, great to catch up with you today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks again, John. I appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure to speak to you, and definitely keep an eye out for updates on the fishing event.
This portion of the show is brought to you by our friends at WorkSharp. And if you are hunting this fall, you know the importance of a sharp knife. You're going to need it for gutting that animal, butchering that animal, taking the hide off that animal, and there's a good chance you're going to have to sharpen it more than once while you're doing these things in the field. That's why a pocket knife sharpener or the guided field sharpener from WorkSharp are great items to have with you. Whether you're after deer, elk, pronghorn, or bear, a sharp knife helps you get things done after you drop that animal. Look for WorkSharp products at sporting goods stores, hardware stores, and ranch and home stores near you, or online at worksharptools.com. That's worksharptools.com.
Explore the Dalles, the hub where discovery and history come together. Whether the Northwest is your home or you're on an adventure, the Dalles welcomes you. Just 80 miles east of Portland is the perfect year-round escape with a community that cares about you. 300 days of sun, breathtaking outdoor recreation, and a downtown full of the unexpected. Oh, and the rich history that began before the Oregon Trail. Start planning at explorethedalles.com.
I'm Anthony Imperato, president of Henry Repeating Arms. Patriotic Americans are looking to protect and provide for their families now more than ever. Henry has over 200 rifles and shotguns to choose from. Made in America or not made at all. And backed by a lifetime guarantee. Order a free catalog, decals, and a list of Henry dealers in your area. Go to henryusa.com or call 1-800-958-4993. Thank you and God bless America.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. Our next stop is the natural state of Arkansas. We've got quite a few stations there, and that's why I thought a lot of our listeners would be interested in a new project by Keith Sutton. It's called Down Home Arkansas. And if you go to downhomearkansas.net, you're going to find all sorts of things about the natural state you never knew before when it comes to not just wildlife and the outdoors, but food and travel too. With us here to tell you more is Keith Sutton. Keith and Teresa are the two putting this together. Keith, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, John. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
Well, usually we are talking about the latest edition of Catfish Now. You're the editor for that, or one of the other articles you've written for various publications. But this is a new project, and I'm kind of excited about it. Tell our listeners more about Down Home Arkansas.
Yeah, Teresa and I are excited, too. I just retired from my regular job a little over a year ago, and she's about to retire, and we wanted something we could do together, and both of us really love our home state of Arkansas. And so we decided instead of the regular hook and bullet stuff we do most of the time, hunting and fishing, we wanted a little bit more, and so this website will take folks to our blog, and we're going to be talking every day almost about something different to do here in Arkansas. We're going to talk, like you said, about not just hunting and fishing, but also a lot of travel stuff, places people can go eat or go stay or just go visit, a lot of restaurants and home recipes. Just about anything you can think of in Arkansas, including a lot of nature stuff and outdoor recreation, too.
Well, speaking of the nature stuff, the last time I was in Arkansas, I was at the Outdoor Writers Association of America conference in Little Rock. And there's this nice riverfront trail there, and I was walking along the riverfront trail, and I came across a box turtle. I'd never seen one before. Tell our listeners more about the box turtle. Very interesting little reptile.
Yeah, that's one of our latest blogs. I was out in my yard here just on the edge of Little Rock. We live in a suburb here, and we have a pair of box turtles that have been running around our property for probably 10 years now, at least. Maybe longer than that. They're kind of distinctive the way their coloration is, so we know them when we see them. And we like to write about things that are going on right now, And so when I saw those, I thought this would be a fun time to talk a little bit more about box turtles. Most of them we see here are three-toed box turtles, but we have another species that's a prairie turtle that lives on the remnants of prairie here, and it's called an ornate box turtle. But people don't see those very regular. But regular box turtles are pretty cool. We see them, they actually dig their nest and lay eggs here. So usually toward the end of the summer every year, we'll start seeing little ones about the size of a quarter that show up. And they may live as long as 70 years. They're one of our longest-lived animals in the state, and that's pretty cool to me. And what's really amazing, they'll live their entire life within an area less than an acre.
Oh, my goodness.
We have marked turtles. Back when I was a park naturalist, we would mark turtles, and some of those have been brought in by park visitors 30 years after we marked them, and they were still within 100 yards of where we released them after they were marked. So pretty cool reptiles. Most people know them, and I hope people try not to run over them when they're crossing the roads, but they're very common here.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that about the turtles crossing the roads. Place that I lived, probably about 30 years ago, found a turtle. This is back in Washington State, crossing the road. Picked it up and brought it in the house to show it to my wife. And I noticed something, that turtles have a reaction when you do that. They pee all over the place. So this thing was peeing down the entire...
Right.
So box turtles, they do the same thing?
Yeah, box turtles will do that occasionally. Most of the time they don't. They're kind of unique because they're our only turtle that can pull their head and legs completely inside their shell and close up. So they'll usually do that. If you try to touch one or pick it up, they'll get back inside their shell and hide until they think you're out of the way and it's safe to come out again.
Good to know. And folks, beware of peeing turtles. It's a thing.
It really is.
All right. Now, you cover food, too, and I'm very intrigued about one of your latest blogs. It's about Murray's Restaurant. Where is this located, and why is it so good?
Murray's is considered by a lot of people to be the best catfish restaurant in the South. It's owned by a family over in Hazen, which is just off Interstate 40, so it's real easy to reach for folks who are traveling. It's only open on Friday and Saturday nights, and so it's kind of a special place. You can't just go there anytime. You got to be there on the weekend, and it's one of those places that the people who own it really make it special. My wife and I have passed by there hundreds of times over the years, but only recently, a couple of weeks ago, got there for the first time to try it. And the folks there just made us feel like part of the family, took us back and introduced us to everybody in the kitchen. I'll tell you this, they got the best catfish I ever ate. They've got the best fried shrimp I ever ate. And with your meal, they bring out a loaf of fresh bread they just baked, and dessert is the best bread pudding in the world. It's a really incredible place. Not too expensive. A lot of other things you can try there, too, like frog legs are great there. I saw some onion rings coming out that looked like the best onion rings I'd ever laid eyes on. So it's just a really special place, and that's one of the blogs we just did about our most recent visit there and try to encourage people. It's one of those places we're trying to focus on rural businesses and not big city type places. That's where the down home name comes from. We're celebrating rural places to visit, and this one's out away from town a little ways on Highway 70 at Hazen, Arkansas. It is very down home, and I encourage people to try to get over there and try it.
Murray's Restaurant, folks. Put it on your bucket list. It just went on mine, that's for darn sure. Again, we're talking to Keith Sutton. Keith and his wife, Teresa, are the founders of Keith and Teresa Sutton's Down Home Arkansas. You can find that on Facebook. You can also go to the website at downhomearkansas.net. That's downhomearkansas.net. Definitely worth checking out. Let's shift gears here, talk about your magazine, Catfish Now. What's in the latest edition?
Yeah, the July edition is what we really consider one of our most special editions every year. We always try to include the women anglers who are out there, and believe it or not, there is a lot of women who enjoy catfishing. So this issue is devoted to those ladies who not only go out and fish for the catfish, but we've also got an article about some women up in North Dakota who help with tournaments up in that region, who are considered just a major part of the tournament scene. And just some folks, there's a story about some of our disabled veterans who are women who enjoy catfishing. We've got a story about a young lady named Lindsay Polecat Brown. She's a hottie in the tournament scene, doing real well there. She's our cover star of that issue. And so almost everything in this issue relates back to women in catfishing.
Well, you can check it all out, folks, at catfishnow.com. That's catfishnow.com. You can read all the stories there, or you can subscribe. Doesn't cost a thing to do so. Again, go to catfishnow.com and definitely check out downhomearkansas.net. If you live in Arkansas or you can be visiting Arkansas, this is definitely the website for you, and they're also on Facebook too. Keith, thanks for sharing all this with us. Love catching up with you on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John. We always appreciate your help in getting the word out about what we're doing.
Sportsman's Cove Lodge has upped the ante for their Sportsman's Surge Showdown coming up this September. 5 boatloads of fishermen will compete against each other to see who can catch the most fish in terms of weight during their 4-day trip. And the boat that does wins $25,000. Since there's only 5 boats per trip, your odds are pretty good. And if you land the biggest weight for all 3 trips, you win another $25,000. This is a great excuse to go fishing, whether you're with family, friends, or a corporate group. So, go fishing at Sportsman's Cove Lodge and participate in the Sportsman's Surge Showdown this September. Find out more at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com.
In today's news, I'm cooking a brisket. Let's go to Jill at my house to see how it's going.
This is your house and you brought me and the crew to check on your brisket?
That's correct, Jill. How's it looking?
This is a Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi. You know you can check your cook right from your phone, right?
I didn't know that was an option, Jill. Well, never mind. But before you leave, can you feed the dog?
What? No.
When we get back, why is my check engine light on? The answer may shock me.
When you think of Work Sharp knife and tool sharpeners, you probably think of sharpeners for the shop or the field, but Work Sharp has a whole lineup of sharpeners for the kitchen, too. We're talking about everything from easy-to-use manual and electric knife sharpeners to ceramic honing rods, whetstones, and the new rolling knife sharpener, an innovative manual sharpener that will do wonders for your cutlery. Make sure there's never a dull moment in your kitchen. Check out the entire product line and order today at WorkSharpTools.com. That's WorkSharpTools.com.
John Kruse here, looking to improve your bottom line as a business that caters to outdoors enthusiasts. You can do so for a very cost-effective price by advertising on America Outdoors Radio. I will tailor a marketing campaign for you, reaching hundreds of thousands of listeners every weekend tuning into our show on 135 stations in 33 states. We've got a sponsor opening right now, so contact me through my website at americaoutdoorsradio.com and let's talk about helping you.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. We got one of my favorite guests on the line, and arguably the finest walleye angler I've ever met. His name is Johnnie Candle. He is a past national tournament champion. He's a current fishing guide at Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and he just got off the water. Johnnie, great to have you on the show.
Good to be on the show.
How was fishing today?
It was pretty good. You know, it's the heat of summer, approaching what the world would call the dog days of summer. That changes fishing, so it's a lot of smaller fish mixed in with your catch. But my guide clients today, when we got off the water, estimated that between 80 and 100 walleye that we boated, kept a nice limit of eaters, threw a lot of little fish back, and had a great, enjoyable summer day on Devil's Lake. So you can't complain about that at all.
No, that sounds like a great day. You know, let's talk about targeting walleye during these dog days this summer. I'll be honest, my home reservoir, Potholes Reservoir, we've got walleye fishing, but I've been having a hard time connecting with them. What are some suggestions you have, not just for Devil's Lake, but other reservoirs where people are looking for walleye?
Well, you know, John, I think the first thing you got to do when you're approaching mid or late summer fish in general, and walleye more specifically, is understand that it's not the fact that it's hot. It's not the fact that they might go deeper or hide from heat that makes them hard to catch. What makes fish hard to catch right now is the fact that there's more food available than any other time of the year. Everything that spawns in the spring has hatched and has grown up to the point now where it's a viable food source. So you're fishing in a literal buffet, right?
Gotcha.
Every fish that swims has so many options for food that if you're not doing it exactly right, it seems like the fish aren't biting, when in all actuality, they may be eating right now more than they do the whole year. But if you're fishing with a bait that's way too big, or a bait that doesn't resemble what they're looking for as far as food, it's really hard to catch them. So here in Devil's Lake, yellow perch and white bass are the primary forage, and they're small, right? They're 1.5 to 2 inches long. So take those big crankbaits and throw them away. I know that's what we want to fish for. I know that's what's worked a month ago, but smaller lures, smaller crankbaits, smaller spinners, smaller jigs, make them look like the food that they're after, and you're going to have a much better success rate than doing it the same way you were a month and a half ago.
Well, you literally diagnosed exactly what I've been doing wrong. Because, I've been trolling big crankbaits and large profile spinner worm harnesses, and we have struggled. So I will downsize, and I bet that will help. In terms of depth, there seems to be quite a variety of where they're at, anywhere from 6 to 20, 30 feet this time of year.
Yeah, and again, it all goes back to the food source, John. Some bait fish prefer to live shallow, maybe close to boat docks, maybe close to rocks, maybe close to weed edges. Other bait tends to live deeper, cooler water. The thermocline can become a big deal in the summertime. So again, it's not always about paying attention to the walleye, but paying attention to what they eat. What's the old Indian saying that I've heard many, many years? If you want to catch the eagle, you don't study the eagle, you study the mouse. Because the eagle is going to try to eat the mouse. Well, the same thing is true for walleye. Don't spend all your time thinking about where the walleye live. Think about where their food source is, and you're definitely going to find and catch more walleye by the end of your fishing outing.
There's a reason I call you the sensei of walleye anglers. All right, let's go ahead and change topics here. You've got a couple walleye schools coming up in Minnesota. Exactly where are they taking place?
So the last 2 weeks of September, I spend my time on Lake Vermilion out of the Vermilion Dam Lodge just outside of Orr, Minnesota. A great, beautiful resort on a beautiful lake, and I'm hosting 2 separate 4-day walleye fishing classes. The first class, a little bit more introductory level. Start with the basics. We're going to cover knot tying, making your own spinners, when to use a spinner, when to use a jig, when to use a crankbait, when to fish live bait, and a bunch of tips and tricks on how to use all that stuff. But the whole key to both of these schools, John, and you've been to one of them out west with us, is that I get in the boats with the students and we teach using your equipment. I don't know of any other schools across the country where the teachers get in the boats with the students and use the students' boat, the students' depth finders, the students' rods and reels. So when they get home, they don't have to translate, right? They don't have to think, well, we did it this way at Johnny's school. How do I do it in my boat? We're going to figure it out in your boat with your equipment and help you catch more walleye. Great time. It's a great time.
And folks, the schools he puts on, they are a wealth of information. And you'll basically start off at the lodge in a classroom setting, and then you go out to the boat and you put to practice exactly what he just described. Then it's back to the lodge for, another session, and then it's back to the boat again. So you're getting that classroom time, you're getting that on the water time, and like Johnny said, most importantly, it's happening with your boat and your gear, so you can take that knowledge and put it to use for the rest of your life. I'm looking at a couple dates here. September 19th to the 24th, September 22nd through the 24th. Do you still have openings for those, the Fall Walleye School?
Yes, I think there's definitely spots in the first class, the second class. If you really want to go, might be able to squeeze you in, but that one's filling up quickly. They're going to be fun. Again, first class, more introductory. Second class, probably a little bit more advanced. We're trying to separate. The demand for the schools has been so high that rather than mixing everyone together in one class and having to teach to multiple levels, we're going to try to separate it a little bit this year just to make it better for the students and a little bit easier on the teachers. But, reach out to me at johnniecandle.com. It's my website. All my contact information is on there, and I will answer all your questions and direct you to the resort to help get you signed up for the classes.
One other thing I have to ask, it's $890 per person. Does that include lodging and meals?
Lodging, meals, bait, ice, and a boat slip, plus the school, all inclusive, one price per person.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, if you haven't planned a fall or summer vacation and you want to better yourself as a walleye angler, this would be a great opportunity. Again, the Fall Walleye School, September 19th through the 24th or the 22nd through the 24th at the Vermilion Dam Lodge at Vermilion Lake in Orr, Minnesota. So go to johnniecandle.com. That's johnniecandle.com. Sign up today. And if you want to go fishing with Johnny out at Devil's Lake, well, you can go ahead and book a trip with him for that too. Johnny, anything else you want to add?
Oh, man, just get out there and enjoy the remaining days of summer. It won't be long. The days are going to get shorter. The nights are going to start getting crisp, and we're going to long for these beautiful late summer days. So get out there, enjoy it wherever you're at. And if there's anything I can do to help you catch a few more fish, just reach out and ask. I'm here to help.
Couldn't say it better myself. Johnny, thanks as always for sharing with us on America Outdoors Radio. Next, I want to remind you about the Sportsman's Surge Showdown taking place at Sportsman's Cove Lodge in September. It's a great opportunity to get you and your family or some friends or maybe some corporate buddies up to Alaska to go fishing for 4 days and have a 1 in 5 chance of winning $25,000 and a 1 in 15 chance of winning $50,000. Here's how it works. You and 5 friends, so 6 people total, go ahead and book a boat at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. It's an all-inclusive trip. Everything's included, even the alcohol. And you get yourself to Ketchikan, get on a float plane to Sportsman's Cove Lodge on Prince of Wales Island, and then you're fishing for 4 days. And the most weight that's brought in by one of the boats, and we're talking halibut, cod, and salmon, wins $25,000. Now, there's 3 trips available during the month of September, between September 4th and September 21st. There's 5 boats that are fishing each one of these trips. So you actually have a 1 in 15 chance of winning the grand prize, which is an additional $25,000. And you win that by having the most weight caught by anybody during these 3 trips. So if you're a little competitive and want to bring home a whole bunch of fish from Alaska and get treated like a king or a queen while you're up there at the lodge, you got to book a slot at the Sportsman Surge Showdown. The website to go to is alaskasbestlodge.com. You can also find Sportsman's Cove Lodge on Facebook. Call them up, let them know you want to participate in the Sportsman Surge Showdown, and with any luck, you'll be coming back home with 50 grand between you and your buddies. Sounds like fun? It sure does. Again, the website to go to, alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge and the Sportsman Surge Showdown. On that note, it's time to go, but here's hoping you are blessed in the days ahead, that you're healthy too, and that you're getting through these dog days of summer, hopefully with some time on the water or in the forest or in the mountains. After all, it is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.